Hey everyone. So today we're just going to be setting up a super simple server from our Raspberry Pi here that's going to serve this little website over our local network. We're just going to be using Flask, Python. We're going to be starting from scratch. So if you watched the last video, we just set up the Raspberry Pi and it's using Secure Shell so that we can connect to it. And now we're going to set up a little web server. So just make sure you have your Raspberry Pi here that we set up in the last video. It has your SSD card and everything installed. Then you're just going to want to plug it in. If you followed along in the last video, if you have SSH enabled, that's all you need to do for the remainder of this video. So we're going to connect back to our Raspberry Pi. So we're just going to send another ping request to see it at raspberrypi.local. There's other ways to do this, like an nmap scan to find all the devices on your network, but this is just pretty simple for me here. So I got the IP address, and what I'm going to do now is sign into it using SSH or our secure shell. So what I need to do is do SSH, and we're going to do your username at the IP address.
The IP address there, of the Raspberry Pi.
And we've already actually trusted it. If that's the first time you're going to sign in via SSH to the Pi, you will get a verification message just asking you to verify that, that device is what it is. Then we'll do our password. Then we'll write our password. And actually try and get it correct this time. Okay, and after finally getting in and forgetting your password a bunch of times, you'll be into your Raspberry Pi here. So what I always like to do before we start anything is just make sure everything's updated. So we'll just do sudo update. So once that's done and all your packages have been updated, we're gonna install the basics that we have here. So we're gonna do sudo install, throw in the Y flag, Python 3. So let's do that. Basics we need for Python. So we're gonna do sudo Python 3.
Pip, which is the Python package manager. It allows you to install different Python libraries. And we're also going to install Python env, which is basically allows you to create a Python environment for our projects. We'll go yes.
So after you've installed pip and venv, we are going to create a folder where this project's going to live. So let's just take a look at where we are right now. So we can create our working directory. So we're in home and then my username. Do mkdir, make directory, and we're going to call it Pi server. Okay, so now we're just going to go into it. Okay, and now once we're in here, basically what we're going to do is create a virtual environment. It's just like a clean little sandbox for this project. Keeps packages separate so that we don't, break anything or affect anything else. And software that we're going to install is going to also live inside of this virtual environment. So what we need to do here is Python 3, mflag, virtual environment. Now we can see that we do have that virtual environment there. We're going to use source. And now you can see that we're actually inside of our virtual environment. You can see the command line is venv. So from here, we're going to install Flask, and Flask is like a super lightweight framework that lets us create a web server in just a couple lines of code. And we're going to use pip to do this, which was the Python package manager that we installed earlier, pip3. So we're just going to do pip install Flask. And notice again, we're inside of that virtual environment. So this software is going to live inside of that. And once we've installed Flask, then we are going to create our server file. It's going to be a Python file, and it's going to act as an actual server. It's going to be super simple, just a couple lines of code. And when somebody visits it in their browser, right now just on your local network, but you could connect this to the open internet as well. We're going to just make it return a simple message. So right now we are going to create that Python server file. So to do that, we're going to use nano app.py, and this is going to be our server file. Okay, so all we need to do is we're going to import Flask, which we just did. So from Flask, import Flask with a capital. Then what we want to do is create an app with Flask and have a name like that. Servers, basically what you need is server will have different routes for, the URL that ends in -home or / about or anything like that. So how we do that with Flask here is we're going to do at app.root. And for this one, we're just going to use the /, which is the main URL. That's just the home URL. So, if you have a website, example.com, this / means that that's the home URL, example.com. After that, we're going to define home. So it's going to be a little function like this. And all we're going to do is return something simple. Hello.
From your Raspberry Pi. Okay. After that.
So lastly here, we're going to do app.run. And here you need to give the server a host and a port to run at. So we're going to do host equals 0.0.0.0, and then we'll run this at port 8000. Okay, and once you've done that, you can hit Control X to exit this, save modified, yes, and we can now get out of here. And now this is a super simple part. All we need to do is run that server. So let's do Python 3 app.py. So once you start your app, you'll actually see it's serving a Flask app, a little bit more. It's running on, this is your loopback IP address. So this is just the IP address that the Pi has for itself. If I went to that on my computer, I wouldn't be able to see anything. But here's where we actually have our local network IP address. So this is, when I pinged the Pi at first, this is the IP address that I got. So let me go over to that IP and that port number, and we should be able to see our app being served from the Raspberry Pi. So there we have it. We're at the IP address of the Raspberry Pi, 192.168.2.75, and we're at port 8000. And you can actually see that we're being served that little bit of text that we wrote, hello from your Raspberry Pi. So this is all super simple. We're just using Python with Flask, and we're actually serving a website from this Raspberry Pi right here that I can access on my computer on my local network. Which is really cool. So if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments. I know this is super simple for now, but we're going to get into some cooler stuff here. We're going to serve real websites from the Raspberry Pi. We're going to set up cameras from the Raspberry Pi so that, you could create your own like baby monitor or just have like a stream from your camera over your local network. We're going to do a lot of cool stuff. So if you have any questions, please leave them below. Thanks so much for watching.